Hey guys, Kaiju here, and today we're going to be doing another review, and that review is on Zaigorg. This is a figure that I've been anticipating for quite a while now, because this Bandai figure of Zaigorg is one of my favorite Bandai figures. If you watch the top 5 best figures I have, I believe he was either number 5 or 4, I can't really remember, but he was on that list. And definitely for good reason. This guy is really nice, but let's get into the actual review first. Of course, starting off with detail. Zaigorg's detail is probably one of his best features because of the fact that Bandai really hit home with this. Everything that should be detailed is detailed. I'm not sure if you would call it scales or just wrinkles on him, but everything is just really nicely done. However, while they did great with the sculpt, the paint on Zaigorg is pretty lackluster, unfortunately. Turning him around, there is basically no colors at his back, it's just solid blue. And while there is some nice paint on the club, like right here, it goes onto the arm, and of course the club itself is painted, when you lift up the arm, there is absolutely no paint underneath. They only painted this top part. The hands, there is absolutely no red paint right here, but on the outside, of course, there is some red paint. And for some reason, there is markings along Zaigorg's legs, but only some of them are painted. It's kind of hard to see, but along this leg, there are some markings, which they're usually painted red. However, these ones aren't for some reason. So, while Zaigorg has a very nice sculpt, his paint is pretty bad. Now let's move on to articulation. Zaigorg has somewhat basic articulation, but it's nothing bad, of course. One at his arm, one at his mace arm, of course his legs, and his tail. There could have maybe been something for the head, but 5 points is decent. You know, it's all you really need for a figure. Now let's move Zaigorg to the side for sizing. First, we'll compare him to a monster that he actually fought alongside, that being Gorg Firegulza. And this is debatably a problem about the figure. It is massive. It is one of the Spark dolls that Bandai has released that is absolutely huge. But to some people, bigger size would be better. For me, I would have liked if he was normal sized personally, because this takes up more space on my shelf. And while it is cooler that he is about a head taller than Gorg Firegulza, I think it would have been better if he was just normal height. And with that being said, it would have been more accurate too, because Gorg Firegulza was about the same height as Zaigorg. Now let's get a figure that he didn't fight alongside, because Gorg Firegulza is the only one I really have that was in his movie. Tyrant. Tyrant is not even as tall as Zaigorg, and Tyrant is a pretty big figure, but no, Zaigorg looks over him too. Now let's get another infamously large figure and see if even it is taller than Zaigorg. Super Alien Hybrido, and yup, Zaigorg is taller than him too. Not by a ton, but yup. So that kind of just shows you how big this figure is. If you've watched my other Kaiju reviews where I size figures up to Super Alien Hybrido, or maybe even the Super Alien Hybrido review, you would know that Super Alien Hybrido is a pretty massive figure, but even Zaigorg stands over him. So moving Zaigorg back into the center, this figure is debatably good. In my opinion, it is, but it definitely does have some flaws. For example, I think that it is bigger than it should be. I think that the paint is pretty lackluster, but other than that, I don't really have any issues with it. And what is here with the figure, I love. Everything that isn't the paint and the overly big sizing, I think is incredible. The paint that is here looks phenomenal, the detail is great, and everything about this figure that isn't the cons is done perfectly. Overall, I think that if you can find Zaigorg for a decent price, pick him up because he's definitely worth it. Again, he has some flaws, but he's still very good. So that's my review of Zaigorg. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.